Good evening and welcome to our live crafting session this evening. It is Thursday the 24th of July 2025. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Jenny McCormac. I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire, and that is here in the UK. It's been a variable day weather-wise. It's been quite warm, but on little sort of dull bits of rain. But other than that, it's been okay. Earlier this week, we've been using the Charming Day stamp set, and that has been our stamp set of the week. I've got a couple of samples. Sorry, they're in cellophane bags, so they're going to reflect a little bit. I do apologise. And this is what we're doing at our coffee and card session tomorrow, Friday, in Brackley, and on Monday next week in Toaster. It's using the Charming Day stamp set. We've stamped in the background on both of these and then stamped the larger rose image and coloured that in with the blends pens. The stamp set and bundle, as well as cutting out the actual stamped images, also cuts out these 4 additional designs. So we've got this rose, we've got a rose head, we've got this foliage which could be winter berries. I was thinking actually if you cut it out in white you can colour it in green with little red berries. We've got this one here, and then we've got some more foliage. Oh, that's 5, not 4, isn't it? 5 dies. If only I could count. That would be so good, wouldn't it? Anyway, so I thought what I would do this evening is show you how you could colour these in, and I've got 2 methods that you could do that, and I'm sure there are plenty more. So what I've done is I've cut the 2 large elements, so the big one here and the rose, in our basic white card, and then I've cut one in cherry cobbler colour and one in Mossy Meadow, one of each. So the first way to colour in is I'm just going to use our blends alcohol markers directly onto the white to colour it in. And then the second way I'm going to do that is layer these 2 together. For example, I've got this rose here with the stalk, so I'm going to cut this off at the top and just layer the flower head on top of that, so I get 2-tone. And I'm thinking then of doing the same with this, just cutting out this central image at the centre of the die, and basically cutting out the leaves and layering those together. It wouldn't matter which way round you do it. So let's start with just some basic colouring. I've got a piece here, so I really do like these dies. They're very detailed. I appreciate you can't see that on the camera, but there's lots of little lines of detail on each of those. Not sure what you can see. So let's do a quick amount, and I've chosen the same colours, and I'm going to layer these onto cherry cobbler card, just so you can see the as a direct contrast. So let me have a look. So I've got dark cherry cobbler and light, presumably, here. I might just go, actually I'm going to do, it's actually Old Olive, not Mossy Meadow. Not quite sure why. I don't think I have Mossy Meadow to hand. So I'm just going to run this one over here. And actually, let me try the other end. It might be a little bit quicker, so you're not sitting there watching me. Okay, yes, that'll be a bit quicker. And I'm not doing any detailed colouring, I'm literally just taking the blends pen over. So you could use watercolour pencils and a blender pen. You could use ink direct to paper and just take it across. You need to be a little bit careful. Okay. I'm just coming down these edges like so. So that is one. That's just the green layer. Hopefully you can see that. Might be easier if I didn't have the pen top in my hand. And then let's do some of the cherry cobbler. So I hope everybody watching has had a good day, depending on where you are and when you are watching. I know some people catch up in the evenings, so if that is the case, a good evening to you. Okay, now I've chosen to use basic white, but you could easily use basic beige, for example. You don't want anything that's going to taint it too much. So I wouldn't have, for example, a green, because you're not going to get this nice cherry cobbler colour on top of it. Okay, and then I'm just going to run this around the edge. And I haven't done any blending, but you could obviously do that. Start with the lighter colour and then work through to the darker cherry cobbler. Just running this along the end so I haven't got a white edge. Okay, so there is one. So that has been hand coloured effectively. Let's do the same with this one. And I'm going to do the same in that I'm going to do I need to take my glasses off though. I need to do the leaves first. I find it easier if you know where the leaves are going to go, and then I can pick out the flowers. So again, just going over these. So this is actually dark old olive, but it's very similar to the Mossy Meadow. So just watching that edge there. I'm going to assume that is all flower, rightly or wrongly. This is probably a flower on the end here, like so. Obviously when you're doing it, you can take longer to do the detail. Okay, and let's do cherry cobbler next. Let's see what this one, oh, it hasn't got much in that end. Maybe try the light one. That's all, they're all quite well used, these ones. So just going to colour over here. So you could definitely use watercolour pencils, you could use Stampin' Write markers as well. Okay, like that. And obviously you can colour these in differing colours, you don't have to have them all the same. Just for the speed, I'm actually going to leave that little bit of stalk so I can do that green. And you can do this with any dies that you've got. especially foliage, but things like birds and butterflies. I just thought I'd show you two different ways that you could do them, especially where there are dies that don't cut out the stamped image. So you want to add a little bit more detail potentially. Okay, so just working my way around this flower head here. Like that. And to this one I am going to add my darker cherry cobbler. And you can see it's a larger area flower. So there's that one. And I'll be interested to see which ones you prefer. Right. Okay, let's add that. There's a little bit of stalk going to pop in here. That one. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of the dark over here, and then I'm just going to blend that in. So doing that sort of in the center area of each of these sort of petals. So it is July even, oh dear, the 24th, and we're in the middle of free delivery. So yesterday, today and tomorrow, if you place an order on our online website, so you can go to jeminicrafts.co.uk and look for the shop with me, then if your order is more than £60, you will get free shipping, and that's courier delivery to you direct from our warehouse in Germany, and that's worth £6.95. So if you need to top up with some essentials, or you want to shop our fabulous clearance rack, which has sort of up to 60% discounts for retired items, then now would be a good time to do it. Okay, so I'm leaving a little bit of the lighter colour. Just for a little bit of a contrast. Okay, so this was white to start with. Let me put it on the back of here, might be useful. So there's one, and there's the other one. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take the same pieces that I've cut in Cherry Cobbler and in Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to trim. So what I'm going to do is use the Mossy Meadow as my base, because it's got these fiddly little leaves. So what I'm going to do is take my Cherry Cobbler flower and cut away the leaves. So I have got this one here, which has got a little red flower on the end, and this one here. So this is going to go on the top of here, like so, and I've got this tiny little flower on the end, so I'm going to have to cut that out and add it. Like so, like that. Okay, and I would keep these bits because these are useful elements that you could put behind, and I'm going to do the same with this one. So for this, I'm going to cut up around there. So again, I would keep these pieces here for embellishing, and then this is going to sit on the top like so. So there's that one, and there's that one with our extra little leaf. So let me grab a little bit of glue and try this out. So you want to be careful not to add too much glue because this has got lots of tiny little panels. So there we go. I've just got some tiny little dots of glue. I'm hoping you can see that. If you prefer to use some, what are they called, tweezers to hold it, then do. Let's move this on a lighter piece. Just going to position that. And because it's wet glue, you've got time to sort of move it around and decide how that's going to go. There we go. So there's one. Let's do the same with this one. Sorry about Woody. The people over the road from us have very loud cars, and they always come back just at this time. Okay. And I can see here I've got a tiny little die cut that I haven't actually popped out. Let's see if I can get that. There we go. Oops. Throw my little flower away. Okay, so exactly the same thing. I'm going to position this on the top and just take time to get it nice and even, like so. And then for this little one, I'm just going to put a dot of glue on the flower, on the base that I'm going to cover up, if that makes any sense. Made sense to me as I said it. Okay, that's it. I'm just going to hold that for a second. There we are. So now I've got some extra leaves and things. So I've now got these two here. So this is the card version, and then these two here are the white ones. Hi Carol. I was thinking about you the other day as it's coming up for Las Vegas. So this is, let's use dark. So I'm using the dies from the Charming Day bundle, and these are the dies that cut out elements that are not in the stamp set. I'm just showing you a couple of different ways that you can colour these in. And let's add a little bit more green. So this one was cut in white, which I'll show you on the back. And then I've coloured this with blends pens. So I'll turn it over, and there you are. So it's white to start with. And then I'm just going to colour these like so. Like that. Okay, now there's nothing to stop you doing a combination. So you could, for example, take the card version and add a little bit of detail. So this was cut in Mossy Meadow, and I've got dark old olive, mainly because I couldn't find my Mossy Meadow pen. So you could certainly add some detail to that. I'll put this on the black card in a second so you can see it a little bit better. And do the same on here. So obviously this gets lighter as it dries. And you could keep it quite sort of variegated if you wanted to, or you can darken it up. Bear in mind that this is a lighter colour anyway. Around the edges a little bit. And then I'm going to pop this on a card, and I've cut out some gold frames from the Gallery Blooms dies. So let me show you these on a piece of dark card, and let me know which you prefer. So that is Cherry Cobbler card, and then this is white card coloured with Cherry Cobbler pens. Probably can't see a great deal of difference. Obviously this colour here is a little bit lighter because it's on white card. And then this is the same thing. So on the right hand side I've got what was white card, and hopefully you can see a little bit of the detail in there. And then this is the Cherry Cobbler card and the Mossy Meadow card. So let's create some cards. So I've got a couple here that I've sort of part prepared. So I've got a white base card, I've got a Cherry Cobbler layer which I've cut to 10 centimeters by 14.35, and then the dies from Gallery Blooms is one die that cuts these two frames together. So one die, you end up with two frames, which I thought was perfect, one for the larger flower and one for the smaller. So I'm going to pop this in here like so, and then add whichever one of these I fancy onto here. I'm going to pop that up probably with some dimensionals. Actually, you can't really see that on there, can you? So I might have to stamp something in the background, or I might use some of my new best friend, which are these metallic rub-ons. That one might work quite nicely across there. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I've got a white card, I've got another layer of Cherry Cobbler, I've got the smaller of the frames, and then I'm just going to add a single rose. I thought this would make a nice engagement card or wedding card. And then I've got some Cherry Cobbler and gold ribbon. So let's do this one first. Just going to tie a little bow with this. This is nice slim ribbon and quite light, even though it's like a satin ribbon. And there seem to have been a lot of weddings recently. A lot of people I know too have gone to weddings. Right, let's cut this down. 1 and 2. Like so. And just wondering if to stamp anything on the back, or what I might do is, got my swish, I've got a little bit of wood. I wonder if, yeah, let's try that. So just going to put this down, and I'm going to mark where the frame comes to. Yeah. 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 Here. And I'm going to use this lovely wood grain. So if you haven't used these metallic rub-ons, I definitely recommend you try them out. So you just want to cut out the bit that you want. Just take the backing away, it does come off really easily. And then this has got glue attached to the back, so it's a bit like using gold leaf, but it's already all done for you. And I'm going to position this so that it fits where my frame is going to go, like so. And you literally just rub it with your finger. You don't want to rub it with a bone folder or anything sharp like scissors, because all you'll do is scratch the metallic element. And you get these in gold and silver. You get 4 sheets of each, so 8 sheets in a packet. Okay, and then you just peel this away when you're ready. Look at that. It really does add some bling. Okay, and now I'm going to bring my frame back, and I'm just going to bring it down a little bit because, no, I'm not going to put it in there. Now I can't really see my gold bit, look. That didn't work, did it? The theory was really good. Let me see. Oh, you can see it. So I think what I'm going to do is just drop that down, add this on, and then put a small sentiment coming across here where I've got my gap, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to pop this up with dimensionals. I do want to rub up my little pencil marks though, because I don't want to see those. The side ones are okay because they're covered up. There we go. So let's put this onto our base card to start with, like so. So this is just going on to white, but I could have chosen Mossy Meadow. I could have had a layer of gold, for example. Could have gone for basic beige. That works particularly well with these regal colours. Okay. Just going to have a look and see what that looks like actually without the frame. look a little bit lost? Does it need the frame? Right, let me put this little bow on, and let me find my glue dots, and then I'm going to decide whether I'm going to do it with or without the frame. Okay, so I've got two different ones here, and put the blue dot in the middle, and I'm just going to make this slightly smaller, like so. I don't want it to overpower my little flower. Do you know what? I think I'm going to do this without the frame. Pop it up on dimensionals and then just have a little congratulations across the bottom, which would be perfect for a wedding. So actually I might just use glue dots rather than dimensionals. So I want a little bit of height, but I don't want it too high. So let's maybe put 2 glue dots on there. That. And then I'm going to roll this one up. Put it on the stalk. Where am I going to put it? My gut feel would be the left, but I feel this works slightly better in this gap here. Don't ask me why. Just does. There we go. Cute. Hopefully you can see that okay. And then this other one, okay, I'm going to do something similar. So let's put this layer down. Like so. It would look nice actually with the black as well, seeing that piece of black card there. I know it's only the back of that. Alright, now I've got these here, and am I going to, ooh, so this is gold. Could put that, no, that's not, I'm going to say put that behind, but that's really not going to work. Right, this is going to go onto here. So I think what I'm going to do is I could put a happy anniversary gold embossed in this little bit in here. I think that's what I'm going to do. Now I haven't got all my embossing stuff together, so, but I can put this down flat in preparation. So as we've gone on long enough, I will heat emboss. Be nice for a gold wedding, wouldn't it, I think? And the set I had in mind is this one here, Cake Celebrations, because it's got wedding anniversary, wedding day, birthday, and celebrate. So it's got some really nice sentiments that will work for it. So I'm going to pop this down like so. And I just wonder, and put that across there. I've also got some of these red leaves, but I'm not going to use those. They really don't work with that. So I'm going to attach this, but I'm going to add happy birthday on there, or wedding anniversary. And this I'm going to pop up with dimensionals, which are in the other room. Just not my day today, is it? So I'm going to add these after I've done my heat embossed sentiment. So I'm just going to lift that up so you can see it. So that's what that is going to look like. It does look a bit too deep, tone on tone. This one I can get away with because it's on the gold. Hopefully you can see that. So what I might do is what? Let's find my gold piece. I've got these gold dots, but they're a bit regimented. I've got these gold dots here. That I could put in there. Let's just try that. That is gold. Is it gold? Problem is, when you've got lights on like this, yeah, it's gold. So I'm going to cut this one out. And this is where I want my little flowers to go. So my dots are going to go roughly there. So let's peel that away. And just going to let that drop but not push it down. There we go. Just because I want to use these all the time now. It's very sad, isn't it? So these metallic rub-ons are in the annual catalogue. £13 excuse me, here in the UK for 8 sheets. There we go. So it's got that pretty little amount of bling, and so that's going to sit on there. That's a little bit better, isn't it? So I'm going to attach that with some probably some black dimensionals so it doesn't stand out too much, and then I'm going to heat emboss a sentiment on the top, and that's it. That's our 2 cards done. So I hope you like this. These two I'll make into another 2 sets of cards, like so. I'll probably add more colour because they look a little bit washed out compared to these. But I hope you like the ideas, and give it a go with maybe some die cuts you've already got. Either colour them in or cut different layers in different colours. So this is Cherry Cobbler and Mossy Meadow, and all I've done is lay them over. So I use Mossy Meadow as my base layer, and then I just cut out the flowers and pop those on top to give that nice double effect. So that's going to sit onto there. I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment in gold, but I haven't got all the equipment ready, so I'm just going to do that straight after. So thank you so much for joining me. Looks a little bit Christmassy actually, thinking about it. Those flowers could be Christmas roses, couldn't they? So thank you so much for joining me this evening. Sorry about the glare from that lovely gold. I hope you have a great morning, afternoon, evening ahead, and thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you, and bye for now.